Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just both the DC universe that James Gunn is doing, as well as some stuff about the Flash from the Arrowverse. It's a bit of a combo, if you want to put it. So we are quickly approaching the 1 year mark since the Flash not only wrapped its filming. I think it wrapped filming in March, so we're pretty much around the time they wrapped filming for season 9. But even then, only a few months until the 1 year mark, and it does not feel anywhere close to that. It feels like it was maybe a few months ago at most. So yeah, it's just crazy how quickly time goes by. But of course, since that point in time, we've had the official takeover of DC by James Gunn. He was in charge at the time of The Flash ending its run, but there was still some DCEU movies still to come out at that time that he had nothing to do with. But now they have all come and gone, so now he is in control alongside Peter Safran, of course. Now, we have brought this up a couple of times just in general discussions and conversations, not overly replying to anything that has been said online by anyone, but there is a general curiosity from fans as to whether there will be any familiar faces from DC projects and universes of the past, whether it is on film or TV, showing up in James Gunn's upcoming DC Universe reboot. Of course, that officially kicking off with Superman Legacy in just over 16 or 15 months or so. 15 or 16 months or so from now. Not many actors have teased a return as their character or as a new character. It's pretty much if they are cast in something, then that's going to be the news. But Grant Gustin has been one that has been brought up a lot in coming back in some form as a character, whoever that might be, in Gunn's DCU. But over the past day or so, roughly on Threads, I think it was, James Gunn replied to a question about Grant Gustin specifically. So someone on Threads said this to James Gunn. Please cast Grant Gustin as one of the heroes in the DCU. Such a great actor. All his talent is going to waste. But yeah, James Gunn responded to this and, sort of was teasing, I guess, the possibility of Grant Gustin joining the DCU. Not overly teasing, but hey, here's a crumb. Grant is an incredibly talented guy, performing now on Broadway, and is absolutely not going to waste just because he's not currently in a DC project, but of course, I'd love to work with him at some point. Now, of course, it's the internet, so as you'd expect, this did start multiple discussions, both on, Threads, where the original reply was put, and then Twitter, I guess probably TikTok, I haven't had a look, everything like that. And you had the debate, or the debates, I guess it was a couple, as to whether Grant Gustin should even be in the DCU and should be cast by James Gunn, and then the other side of the debates or discussions were about what character that Grant Gustin could play in this DCU if he were to get picked up by Gunn and cast in something. And from what I saw, most people seem to be in favor of Grant, not necessarily coming back as the Flash, but just because he is a likable actor and all that, and be a good, jigsaw piece, if you want to put it to the puzzle, of the DCU going forward, whether it's in the next couple of years or even 5 to 10 years from now. I mean, it would be a bit weird if anyone was overly against it based off Grant's, I guess, credibility as a person. I think the logical argument against Grant being cast in the DCU as, whatever role it might be, is that when you look at him, you think, oh, that's Barry Allen, that's the Flash. So if you cast him as a certain other hero, or even just a character in a movie that doesn't have powers potentially, whoever that might be, you just have the potential that people are going to keep thinking that it's the Flash essentially and not this other character that he's meant to be playing. And yeah, realistically, you should be able to ignore that, but some people can't do that. You see it a lot with actors specifically, the person. People can't get immersed with a certain character in a movie because it's played by a certain actor, where most people just know them as the person that they are as the actor. So Christopher Walken is one big person at the moment because of Dune Part 2. Apparently it's taking people out of the movie whenever he's in it because he's Christopher goddamn Walken. Then you have people like John Cena and The Rock. They get that a lot. They're just seen as John Cena and The Rock, not the person they're playing. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is just seen as Iron Man a lot of the time by a lot of people, and that's a struggle to break out of that. So, yeah, it can be an issue for some. I personally don't really get sucked into that, unless it's a bad actor and they're a meme, if that makes sense. Then they show up and it's well, what the hell? But I can see what other people do. But here's the big question. People are going to be really rattling this off. Is it likely James Gunn will hire Grant Gustin? And I don't think it's either likely or unlikely. I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. And my main reason around this is that James Gunn, I think, isn't necessarily going for massive names in the sense of they cost a lot to get on the initial movie. But at the same time, I think one thing that might hurt him even going for Grant is just the fact that people look at him and go, oh, that's the Flash. If you really look at all the castings, especially for main people in his universe, none of them are notable for anything. Yeah, sure, Nathan Fillion is known for a lot of different roles, but then that's the thing, he's known for a lot of different roles. People don't necessarily call him Castle or whatever. He's just known for a lot of things, so he sort of breaks out of that a bit. But with Grant, it's more like, I mean, either people are going to call him whatever his character from Glee was called, or they're going to call him the Flash. So that might be something that would go against it, but I also don't think it's unlikely. I don't think it's likely or unlikely. I think it's right straight bang down the middle, just like it could happen. Now, hypothetically, just because we love to do this, hypothetically, who could Grant Gustin play in James Gunn's DCU? Now, I won't mention anyone I'm thinking up. I've already mentioned that in previous videos, though there is some crossover in regards to what I've thought and what other people were saying online. But these are some names, or not names, characters, and just like heroes, I guess, I saw mentioned in reply to this interaction by Gunn on Threads, and then various different places that were posting it online. Just seeing the replies, more people would want Grant to play. So I mentioned some of them here, not all of them, just the ones that caught my eye, and I thought, okay, that's a bit different. So the first one's a bit of a meme one, but it's also like, could this character show up? And it's like, maybe in I could see this character showing up in Peacemaker or some crap, but Condiment King, I feel like Grant would be able to do that. I don't know, but I thought that was a funny suggestion there. I think it was a troll suggestion, but I thought it's still funny at the same time. Why not include it? This one, though, Ray Palmer, aka the Atom in the DCU. Surprisingly, brilliant choice. I think this would actually be a really good one. Like, we've talked about it before, where Grant, if he was going to get cast in something in the DCU, it'd have to be, it would suit maybe it being like a science-based one, just because, I think Grant would be able to rattle it off because, the Flash experience and stuff like that. So I think Ray Palmer would actually be a decent fan cast for Grant Gustin. It's something I hadn't thought of, I don't think, previously, but I actually think this is a decent choice. Obviously, you got your Jay Garrick chucked in there. I mean, you're always going to see that. I think majority of the replies were saying Jay Garrick or just to be the Flash, one of the two. Adam Strange was one I saw a couple of times, and we had mentioned previously in another video that would be a decent role for Grant to slot into. I think he'd be a good Adam Strange. But I'd never thought of the Ray Palmer, aka Adam one before, and now I've sort of liked that a lot, even probably more than Adam Strange. Ted Kord, I saw more than a few times as well, aka Blue Beetle. The only thing that would go against that is that, I mean, with Jaime Reyes as Blue Beetle, they might go for a bit of an older Ted, maybe 40s or something like that. I'm not too sure, but if they're going for a prime Blue Beetle, I guess, then I think Grant would be able to play that. And the final one I thought was interesting was Kyle Rayner's Green Lantern, or Kyle Rayner, the Green Lantern. He'd suit that, and that would be an interesting one as well. I saw that a decent amount of times as well, probably the same amount of times as probably Adam Strange, to be completely honest. So yeah, that's probably not a bad choice either, the Kyle Rayner Green Lantern. But if you have any suggestions, let me know down below. But one other thing regarding Grant that I thought was worth including in this video was an interview he did with the avclub.com in the lead up to his Broadway debut on Water for Elephants. That's the Broadway show. Now, this has already taken part. The debut's already happened. I think they're a week in or something like that. And from what I know, both Grant and the show are getting pretty good reviews for that show that he's on Broadway. But first in this interview, at least regarding the Flash and DC, he was asked what he missed the most about the show, and this is what he said. The people. I did it for nearly 10 years. I was 23 when that show started and 33 when the show ended, and grew up and learned a lot of who I was and just matured a lot throughout the process, and was surrounded by cast and crew that became family. I mean, it's so cliche, but it's true. I spent so much more time with all those people than I did with anyone that was my actual family during those years, and it's weird to just suddenly end and know that we'll never all be in the same room at the same time again. Also, wearing the suit in downtown Vancouver at 4 a.m. in the rain in tough environments, I was aware during the last season I was going to miss that, and I do. I miss throwing the suit on and standing in downtown Vancouver at 4 a.m. shooting an action sequence, I want to say, because it was a really unique experience. Now, he was then asked about the scope, I guess you could say, of the show outside of the show and the fan base, and this is what he said. I think maybe I did underestimate early on how much the show was going to mean to people, and that while the show was running, I tried to stay focused on the work and not outside noise. While I was aware of the fan base, it wasn't until the series ended and started attending conventions and meeting fans in person that I got the full experience. I think I've leaned into it more and gotten to enjoy that fan relationship since the show ended and see how much it genuinely means to a full generation of people and entire families. and how it's special to see how much people love the show. I try to keep my focus a little more singular while I was doing the work so I wouldn't get overwhelmed by that, but now I get to enjoy it now that it's behind me. So I think I've seen a lot of people like message me and stuff like when they go to the conventions and they get the photos you can get, or autographs and stuff like that. So I know that he's been doing that, not a ridiculous amount, like not every single convention that's possible, like you do see some actors do just because they're available, but just, you know, if he's available. I think he's going to one in a month. I think it's like Indianapolis. I think I saw it on Twitter or something like that. So I think it's just when he has the timing and do it. Now, obviously, he's got less time now because the Broadway thing, but when he gets time off on a weekend, I'm sure that he'll book those conventions and, you know, you might be able to run into him as well. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it, show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts on this stuff. Would you want to see Grant Gustin in James Gunn's DCU? If so, in what form? Do you want him to be the Flash again? Do you want him to be Jay Garrick? Or do you want him to be one of those other characters that we mentioned, like Ray Palmer or the Atom, might I say, Blue Beetle, Adam Strange, Kyle Rayner, whoever it might be? Let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.